Sairam, good morning, dear children. So, today I'll be continuing the same lesson, Whitewashing the Fence, Class 3, Subject English, Part 2 and Chapter 5. In Part 1, I have told you that Tom was 10 years old. He was a very mischievous boy, and Tom lived with his Aunt Polly and his brother Sid and cousin Mary. And Tom was a very mischievous boy. He did not like to go to school. He secretly went away from school and had a very good time swimming in the river on Friday. And Aunt Polly asked him about his day in the school, and he answered Aunt Polly's questions very carefully, but he was caught by Aunt Polly. So she gave him a good shake, that is an unpleasant shock. So she told that tomorrow was holiday. So it was not a holiday for him, as he has to whitewash the fence. Until the work is completed, he is not allowed to play. So this is part 1. And in part 2, we will see the explanation of the third paragraph. The next morning was Saturday. It was a bright, fresh day full of life and meant to be spent enjoying oneself. The next morning was Saturday, as it was holiday for Tom. So it was a bright, fresh day full of life. Full of life means active, lovely and energetic day, and spent life and meant to be spent enjoying oneself. So after the breakfast, Aunt Polly gave Tom a bucket of whitewash and a long handled brush. So after the breakfast, Aunt Polly gave Tom a bucket of whitewash and a long handled brush. And she instructed, means she ordered Tom to whitewash the fence. Tom groaned. Groaned means make a long deep sound conveying pain or sadness, as he has to whitewash the fence. So as it was a huge fence, it was a very big fence. So it could take him a week to do it properly. In order to whitewash the fence properly, it takes nearly a week's time, and the way Aunt Polly wanted. Even if he rushed through it, it could take him the whole day, as it was a huge fence. In order to whitewash the fence properly, it takes nearly 1 week's time. Even though if he rushes to do it, it takes the whole day to whitewash the fence. So what a hateful way to spend a Saturday. So what an extremely unpleasant way to spend a Saturday. And this is the explanation of the fourth paragraph. Slowly he dipped the brush in the bucket of whitewash and passed it along the topmost plank. So he dipped the brush in the bucket of whitewash and he passed it along the topmost plank. So plank is a long, flat, thin piece of wood. And he had hardly finished his first brush stroke. So he started finishing his first brush stroke. Then Jim, he was a little black boy who helped Aunt Polly in the kitchen, came dancing out of the house. So when Tom dipped the brush in the bucket of whitewash and he hardly finished his first brush stroke, then Jim, so he was a little black boy who helped Aunt Polly in the kitchen, came dancing out of the house. So Tom began to persuade him to do his work. So Tom was not at all interested to whitewash the fence. He was very much interested in playing. So he thought to convince Jim to do his work, but his aunt came out just then. So his aunt came out just then, so he could not give Jim to whitewash the fence. So he tried to convince him, but at that time his aunt came out and Jim went flying down the road and Tom was back at his whitewashing. So Jim went flying down the road and Tom started his whitewashing. And this is the picture where Tom has finished his first brush stroke when Jim, the little black boy who helped Aunt Polly in the kitchen, came dancing out of the house. And I think you have understood this video. I am just summarizing the whole video now. The next morning was Saturday. It was a bright, fresh day full of life and meant to be spent enjoying oneself. After the breakfast, Aunt Polly gave Tom a bucket of whitewash and a long handled brush. She instructed Tom to whitewash the fence. Tom groaned. It was a huge fence. It could take him a week to do it properly, the way Aunt Polly wanted. Even if he rushed through it, it could take him the whole day. What a hateful way to spend a Saturday. Slowly he dipped the brush in the bucket of whitewash and passed it along the topmost plank. He had hardly finished his first brushstroke when Jim, a little black boy who helped Aunt Polly in the kitchen, came dancing out of the house. Tom began to convince him to do his work, but his aunt came out just then, so Jim went flying down the road and Tom was back at his whitewashing. So I think you have understood this video. I'll be asking you some of the questions relating to this video. What did Aunt Polly give Tom to whitewash the fence? What did Aunt Polly give Tom to whitewash the fence? Why did Tom groan? Why did Tom think Saturday was a hateful way to spend? Who was Jim? Did he help Tom to whitewash the fence? So these are all the 5 questions that you have to answer. Go through the video, understand it. It will be very easy for you to answer all these questions as you find the answers for all these questions in this video. So thank you. Sai Ram.